Welcome to the 2025 CJ Cup Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas. Unfortunately, torrential rain, wind, and thunderstorms led to a Wednesday washout on Pro-Am Day, certainly softening up the course for Thursday, and metaphorically shortening our gear coverage to a 54-hole event. But we have some special segments this week that I hope the gear fans really enjoy. Before we get to those, let's first check out the action from this week. It had been a while since we checked out Tom Kim's bag of clubs, but we got a good look at them this week. Including his JT-inspired radar-stamped lob wedge, Titleist T100 irons, Titleist GT3 driver, QI10 3-wood, 13.5 degree fairway wood, and his new Scotty Cameron mallet putter. We then checked in on Scott Gucheski, who's sporting an electric swag bag. And Strixon irons covered in lead tape. Also, take a look at his TaylorMade Stealth 5-wood. Which has an old Matrix 8M3 stock shaft in it. You just don't see that too often out on tour. In other What's in the Bag news, we also caught up with Hayden Springer to take a closer look at his Titleist T150 irons. Rustic SM10 Vokey wedges. A Ping 2 iron. 7-wood, 13.5 degree TaylorMade mini driver, and the big dog Titleist GT3. This was quite the set. We also took a look at Joseph Bramlett's custom Titleist set. Including custom wedges, and lead taped irons. Alex Smalley and his beautiful custom ping set, consisting of blueprint irons, an array of wedges, and G440 driver and woods. And we took a look at Patton Kizzaire's combo set, featuring 4 different Titleist iron models. For the Star Wars fans, Superstroke unveiled the new Darth Vader-inspired grip. For the barbecue fans, we checked out the lamb and rib selection on the range on Tuesday. And for the cigar fans, we rolled up on this live cigar rolling setup they had during an event for the Caddies. We then had the pleasure of diving into Texan Jordan Spieth's bag this week, where we got an in-hand look at his 3-wood, his old hybrid with a dimed out wear mark on the center of the face, and we caught a glimpse of his custom Titleist SM10 Vokey wedge. To learn more about Spieth's special wedge grind, we then caught up with Vokey wedge grinding legend Aaron Dill, who gave the full backstory into how Spieth's custom wedge was created. Gotta get the story behind it.
Yeah, Jordan, I would not say that Jordan is a complicated guy, but he's certainly a player who gravitates to things from the past, He'll pick up something in the garage or at Cam's place and he'll say, oh my gosh, this is such like a nostalgic connection thing for me. And out of the blue, just one day, he was playing our current inline L, and he was at Cam's place and they were working on some stuff and hitting balls. And there was an old rusty wedge in the corner of the room, and he just picked it up. He sets it down, and then he wags it a couple times, and he, like most golfers do, they set it down and they look at it, and he's like, oh my gosh. So he immediately gets on the phone, he calls me up and he goes, hey, question, do you make my old wedge that I used to have? And of course this is like years after. And so I said, I'm not sure which one that is, but send me a photo. So he sends me a photo, and it's an old SM7 60T. And it's just rusted out, it's a mess. It's all brown and dark. And he goes, you still make it? And I said, let me take a look. So I go in inventory, and of course it's super old at this point. We still had a few sitting around. And so I said, you know what, I got a couple left. And so this was it. In fact, this is the one. So he goes, can I get one? And I said, sure. So I built up a couple, I sent him out to his home. He's like, this thing is so good. Now, of course, at the time, I'm thinking to myself, what happens when we run out of these? Because we're not going to keep making these forever. We can't order anymore. How do we create something that is modern day, that looks and feels like this? So I start peppering him with questions. What is it about this that you love? He's like, it's just basically the profile. And as we've made profiles over the years, we have adjusted certain things, right? Players are looking at wedges in different ways every day. And this particular model was a little bit rounder in its shape. It had a little bit of onset to it. And then the one thing that he kept commenting about was how tall this section was in here. He goes, it looks like it's a little pinched. And he goes, I love that. I feel like when it's a little bit smaller, I strike a little better, I pay a little more attention, I'm more connected to it visually. So I said, sweet, that's all I needed to hear. So I, of course, took a drawing of this shape, went home, got on the wheels, worked on more current models. And so his model today, which is an SM7 T-grind, is just a profile match of this version here. And it just kind of, it's funny, like you go through your golfing career, whether you're an amateur or professional, there's always like a handful of clubs in your career that stood out, right? Maybe it's a 3-wood or a 5-wood or a putter or a wedge. And for somebody like Jordan who lives in this kind of cool world of nostalgia, he picked this up and he goes, oh my gosh, this is something I've been missing. And that's the wedge we make for him today. It's just a slight modification version off of this version here.
And speaking of nostalgia, we then got a great in-hand look at Jordan Spieth's custom TP Mills putter that he started playing at the Waste Management in Phoenix this year, coming out of his old stash of clubs he had at home. Looking at this putter got me thinking. Aside from Spieth's putter or his wedge, what else are the coolest custom clubs of the year so far? Well, to answer that question, I took a look back through our Inside the Ropes footage from the first 15 episodes, and I compiled my working list of the coolest custom clubs, or shafts, that we've spotted on the PGA Tour so far this year. Let's get right to it. First up, with a real strong start, and arguably one of the best iron profiles I've ever seen from a dress, we have Chef Minwoo Lee's custom Callaway irons that he started playing at Pebble Beach this year, which he used to win the 2025 Texas Houston Children's Open, his first PGA Tour win ever. A chef's kiss from the Callaway department here. Next up, gotta go with Tommy Fleetwood's Sharpie Special TaylorMade Spider that he put in the bag at the RBC Heritage this year. The lines were drawn on there because they're meant to mimic milling marks on the top crown, an idea he got from Scotty Scheffler's custom Logan Olson putter he experimented with last year. Tommy's an avid putter tester, and we're here for every second of it. Maybe it's the old Mighty Ducks movies that has me feeling nostalgic, but Jake Knapp's custom Project X Anaheim Ducks-inspired driver shaft has to crack the list. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. For the lead tape fans, we present John Pack's TaylorMade Tour Preferred UDI 2-iron that's nearly unrecognizable because all the lead tape has on it. I mean, what gearhead doesn't love a good 2-iron caked in lead tape? In more Sharpie news, we have Kevin Streelman's Odyssey 2-ball that he brought back from his Korn Ferry Tour days. The drawn-on black Sharpie on a 2-ball putter is simply iconic. Here's a flashback from the PNC Championship. John Daly is simply one of the custom club kings, and he proved it once again with his rusty sub-70 irons with his logo on it, and Razorbacks logoed wedges. Mini drivers and 2-woods are obviously super hot on tour right now, and earlier this year we got a look at this Cobra 2-wood during the prototyping and testing process with Ricky Fowler. It was known as the Deuce. Eventually, fellow Cobra staffer Gary Woodland put one in play, who had never used a mini driver or 2-wood prior. At the start of the year, we had the great pleasure of going in-depth with Max Homa and his new Cobra fitter Ben Showman about his Cobra MB irons. These irons comfortably make this list of coolest clubs because they're 3D printed to Homa's exact preferences, a true marvel in modern engineering. Scotty Cameron rep Drew Page told us in the last video that Danny Walker's custom Scotty Cameron putter was his favorite custom putter from the year, and who am I to argue? There's some clear Tiger Woods influence here on the head profile and the dot alignment feature, and simply put, it looks gorgeous. At Pebble Beach, Lab Golf busted out some awesome custom colorways for Adam Scott's Oz 1 broomstick putter. He typically opts for the blue version with no insert, but the red, orange, and blue version with the insert are equally cool in my eyes. Then, of course, we have Rory's TaylorMade Roars Proto irons that he used to win the 2025 Masters. He first started using these irons in 2017, and they're now entering legendary custom club status after the Masters win. And his custom Torch TaylorMade Spider putter speaks for itself. That thing's gorgeous. Speaking of custom irons, we had the pleasure of checking out Johnny Vegas's custom Artisan irons, crafted by legendary club maker Mike Taylor. Man, they look clean at address. And lastly, we have Brandt Snedeker's irons, and his old Odyssey Rossi putter. But don't let me explain them. Let's hear from Brandt Snedeker himself. We caught up with Sneds for a full What's in the Bag interview last week at the Zurich Classic, and this week, we present it here on Inside the Ropes.
Hi, I'm Brandt Snedeker. This is What's in My Bag. So we'll start with the driver here. This is a new driver this week actually. This is the new TaylorMade QI35. I tried it Monday this week. It worked out really well. So always trying to add some distance and kind of seem to go a little further than my other one, which I'll take happily. Hopefully I hit it straight, but QI35 with a red Ventus 6X shaft in it. You know, I've been playing the same driver for a couple years, and the new stuff, it's always kind of hit or miss whether you get into it or not. And this one seemed to turn over really easy for me, which was nice. I like to hit a draw off a tee, and this one was kind of right up my alley. I played TaylorMade pretty much my whole career out here, so it's kind of nice to get back into one of their stuff and something I'm comfortable with. All right, next up in my bag is my 3-wood. I got a nice little USA head cover from President's Cup last year, being a vice captain. This is a Stealth 15-degree 3-wood, TaylorMade. Been real kind of consistent with these throughout my career. I love these TaylorMade 3-woods. They seem to go the best. I got a Ventus 7X shaft in it. Something out here that we get out here, we get glue-in hosels. So instead of being adjustables, it's non-adjustable. It just feels to me kind of old school with that. I like that feel better than the adjustable ones. Kind of more in my head than anything else, but that's what I like to play. So this is a 15-degree 3-wood. This is one of the clubs I love in my bag, so I try not to mess with it too much. I think the general rule out here on tour, guys, 3-woods are the hardest clubs to find. So when a guy finds one, he typically sticks with it for a long time. My 5-wood next up in my bag is a QI35 5-wood I got this week as well. Super easy to hit. The most important thing about 5-woods out here is that make sure you hit your number with it. They all seem to go really far right now. They launch really high, so just making sure you get one that's not too hot, that kind of goes the right number. This goes about 235 for me. I'm playing the Ventus 8X red shaft in it. It's a little bit more height on it. New this week, so hopefully it stays in there and does what it's been doing on the range. For Ryder Cup this year, I'm a vice captain for 2025 at Bethpage, so gave all the vice captains a nice little head cover to remind us this year what's important. Make sure we get our team ready to go for Bethpage in September. All right, all my irons are similar. I play kind of old school. I play an old Bridgestone iron. I've been playing for about 10 years out here. It's called a J15CB. I play a graphite shaft, a 95 steel fiber, 95 gram graphite shaft in my irons. Been playing these for about 15 years out here as well. Just something I'm used to. It's really, I don't really change a lot, even though I play a new driver this week, but these irons I've been playing for so long. Just used to them. I know how they go through the turf. I know how they fly. Although I am down to my last set of these, so I'm gonna have to make some tough decisions here coming up here soon. These starting to start wearing out on me. I've probably gone through 4 sets of these, but this is my last one. So, but this shaft's been really good for me, consistent, and really love the way it flies in the wind. And launched a little higher for me. It's gotten a little older, and I need a little bit more height on it. So this has been a good combo for me. Yeah, I use a Lambkin UTX. This is their new kind of cord. It's a softer cord grip they use. I've really been happy with it. I'm a starter tape only, so I like my grips really thin. These are thin grips. I like to feel the shafts in my hands. I don't like the big fat grips. I'm kind of a handsy player, so I like being able to feel the club in my hands. And then I play kind of all Vokey wedges. So this is a 46 pitching wedge. I play a 46, a 52, a 56, and a 60. The 46, 52, and 56 are all the same. They're all the 10F models. Same bounce on all of them. Go through the turf really well. I do play steel shafts in my wedges. This is a Modus Tour 105. It's a lighter steel shaft. Just found they flight a little bit better with the wedges. I want to keep the wedges down a little bit more than I do with my longer irons, and so kind of something I've tried and really happy with it. But I've played the SM Tims now since they came out last year. Really like them. Go through the turf really well. Obviously play the non-nickel plated version, so these rust just feel like they come off a little softer, feel a little bit better to me. But been a Vokey guy for a long time now. Do a great job with their wedges, and super easy to kind of get new ones built up, and kind of your quality control is really good. Everyone feels the same, comes off the same. See, these are all degrees stronger. So this is 46, is actually a 45. No, it's 46, actually it's 46, but my 52 is a 51, my 56 is a 55, and my 60 is a 59. Just kind of feels my gaps better. Try to have about 12-yard gaps in my wedges. So my lob wedge goes about 100, 55 goes about 113, my 51 goes about 125, and then this wedge goes about 136, 137. So just try to make sure I hit those gaps. Don't really care what the number says on the bottom, more about hitting the gaps the right way. And then probably the club I'm known the most for is my putter. And this is 21st year with it. I got it in 04. This is an Odyssey XG Rossi. They don't really make them anymore. I've got a few left, but just what I feel comfortable with. This insert's a softer insert, so the ball comes off real slow, which I like with my stroke. The way I kind of put a bunch of energy in the ball, I kind of pop it to a degree. This is the same one I've always used. I've got a couple backups, but they're not the same, and I know I never use them. But this is the one club I don't want to get rid of and probably never will. So same one I've always had. I got it on the range in 2004 at a Corn Ferry event, and it's been the same one ever since. So this is my standard go-to. Will never leave my bag as long as I'm out here. Well, this is actually a new grip. My grip, so I don't like to change putter grips at all. So this one's probably 2 years old. I probably, in the 25 years I've had this putter, I've probably only gone through about 4 grips. So when I get a grip on there the right way, I like the way it feels, I try not to change it. And so they get pretty decrepit. The tour staff actually makes me change them. Once a grip gets so worn that it starts changing the characteristics, they make you change them. You kind of can break a rule doing that. So I wait until the tour staff tells me I have to change them before I change them. But that's it. You know, it's kind of nothing too special out here. This is kind of one thing I found out here is when you find something you like, you don't change it. You know, and so I try to keep the variables to a minimum, trying to change too much stuff. Although drivers seem to change a lot out here, that's the one thing I'm constantly kind of going through, see if there's something better. But for the irons and wedges and putters, most part, everything stays the same. I used to be really finicky about marking my ball. I used to only mark my ball quarters from the 60s. And then I had an issue one week where I changed bags out, didn't have a quarter in my bag, and I kind of freaked out. And I putted bad, and I thought how ridiculous this is that I made myself putt bad because I didn't have the same coin I always use. And so kind of went away from that. And so now I just use these marker at the club, these big stick in the ground ones. Golf Club of Tennessee is where I play most of my golf in Nashville, so these are all from there. I like them because they're big, they're easy to see, they go on the turf. So if somebody has to putt over them, they don't bounce the ball offline or whatever. And so I've kind of gotten back to something simple where I'm not super superstitious about it to where it's a problem. So I kind of got away from that tendency about 10 years ago and kind of going with these now. The Titleist 25 Pro V1X, I went to it at the beginning of this year. It's been really easy transition for me. Spins a little bit more, which is what I need, and really good in the wind, really good around the greens. You know, we're lucky out here on tour right now. All the manufacturers really make great golf balls. There's not a bad golf ball being made right now, so you can literally hop around any manufacturer and find a really, really good golf ball. Titleist I was a Bridgestone guy forever and been to Titleist probably the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been really fortunate to find a ball I like in theirs, and super easy to make the transition.
And with that, unfortunately, we say goodbye to this week's Inside the Ropes video from the CJ Cup Byron Nelson in Texas. We'll see you next week at Philadelphia Cricket Club for another edition. In the meantime, don't forget to let us know in the comments which awesome custom clubs we missed in our breakdown this week. We'll see you next week.